Okay guys, this is the third time I've had to record this video, so I hope it sticks and works this time. So we are jumping into Bitcoin. I'm not going to kind of sugarcoat through all the kind of formalities to start with. So we're just going to get right into this, right? So Bitcoin paired up with USDT on the hourly chart. Binance is the data source, right? We have seen an interesting kind of pullback, right? So I want to kind of just spend a little bit of time on this hourly chart, just to kind of walk through the microstructure. Then I'm going to really focus in on the daily, because I think that one's a little bit more important for the majority of people to understand. So basically, we've got 5 waves coming up here, okay? And the only way that this makes sense that you start off with 5 waves is under a 5-3-5 structure, okay? A 5-3-5 is basically just a corrective zigzag, an ABC pattern, and we have pulled back down quite significantly here, and this is also looking like a 5-3-5, believe it or not. It seems to be everywhere at the moment, which is unusual because normally they're not as common as this. But anyway, nonetheless, they are there. So essentially, you've got 5 waves coming down here. You can kind of chalk this up quite badly, but it is there. And then we move up with an ABC, and then we're looking down at another 5 waves, right? So we have one, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Now, because I've already recorded this video twice, and this is the third time, I've already got all these prices marked up. We have 38,700 as the low potential for this 5th wave, up to about $39,000. This is going to be the sweet spot for this retracement. All in all, that's where we're going to imagine that we're going to have a bit of a reversal. This will be wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This set of 5 waves will mirror the 5 waves that we had over this side of the chart. Okay, so essentially we've had 5 waves go up. We've had basically this 3-wave move down, and then we end up with 5 waves going up on a 1-to-1 ratio with our 5 waves over here. This actually puts us at a pretty reasonable good spot, just over, let me actually get rid of that. Come over here at $43,221. Okay, so pretty reasonable amount and a good level to be at. Now, I've been talking about $43,000 to $45,000 for a while, so again, this puts us right in where I was kind of expecting it to kind of bounce to anyway. So essentially, that's actually a pretty good way of kind of looking at it. Now, obviously, invalidation of this would occur if we cross down lower than 38,536. Okay, we cannot cross this dashed line at the bottom. Now, if we do cross that, that means I've made a mistake over this side of the chart. Now, looking at it, it's possible that this is actually a 3-3-5, and this is actually the ending position of a 5-wave move, and our 5th wave low is actually over here. This would adjust everything, and this would actually be marking our point of reversal going down towards our lower targets on a daily time frame. Now, I still don't think that is the case. I don't think I've miscalculated, but if we were to lose this support level at 38,536, then I would be forced to come back here and reassess everything that I've drawn up already, and make sense of these 5 waves. Because without redoing that and recalibrating, these 5 waves would be completely out of position and out of sorts and wouldn't make sense. So ultimately, I still think this is a 5-3-5 moving up, and if we lose that support, then I've done something wrong somewhere, and I'll have to figure that out, and that's on me. Okay, cool. So on our micro time frame on this hourly chart, what do we have? 5-3-5 moving up. First of all, we're more than likely going to come down over the weekend. We take a look at the hourly stochastic RSI. We're already overbought, so we are looking to just pull this down ever so fractionally more and finish off that 5th wave low, and then from there we can basically finish off this with moving on up. The 4-hourly chart is already oversold. The 8-hourly chart is almost oversold, and the daily chart does need to see the correction come on down. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit now about our daily chart. So let's take the stochastic out of the play for a sec. What do we actually have here? Well, just like our hourly chart, we're also tracking a 5-3-5. Like I said, these seem to be overly common at the moment. So a 5-3-5 move, basically this is our 5-wave move just here. The 5-3-5 is a 1-2-3 wave move that is happening right here inside this B wave bounce, and that takes us to our $43,221. Okay, and then the final 5 waves haven't happened yet, and we're not even started them yet, but basically they will mirror the 5 waves that we had previously, and this now takes us down to a low of 34,571 on a 1-to-1 ratio. It is possible that it doesn't go down as low as that, and basically that's kind of like the low point that I'm kind of envisioning. Now, 34,571 is in fact a higher low than we had previously over here at 34,322. So basically we're marginally going to be setting a higher low. I still think, though, that there's possible areas of bouncing could be the 786, the 702, or the 618, and therefore, basically, we're talking 35, 36. We won't know 100% where this is going to land until we start counting those sub waves. Do we end up a little bit higher than this? Do we overwick it? Do we drop down lower? Do we set a new lower low? Too soon to really know all of that, but essentially the patterns are here and the data is suggesting that we are moving on down. Now, that's kind of the price action here on the daily chart, right? We've got to move up to about 43,200 34,221, and we've got to move down to about 34,500. Okay, and what this doesn't suggest to me is moving down to $20,000. It does not suggest to me moving down $25,000, and there's a lot of reasons for this. So to really come into this in our own, the reason that we need to see this correction is we need to see the momentum of the price move down. We also need to see the sentiment of people in the space also change and adapt a little bit. Essentially, with the wave counts here are 535, meaning that the kind of motive, I guess I don't want to call it motive, but the general kind of sentiment is down. Okay, there's a relief bounce, and then the sentiment continues. Once you get down to the bottom here, it's going to be actually see the sentiment change again. The sentiment will change this time to thinking the price should more than likely go up because it's going to be heavily oversold. Okay, so on this journey, once we're down at $34,000, what do I see? Well, I will see a daily stochastic RSI oversold, and we should see the weekly stochastic RSI oversold. Why is this important? Well, this is important because finally they'll actually marry up with what is going on here with our monthly. Our monthly stochastic RSI is already oversold. Okay, it is in the same position it was at before this bull run started. This was basically December 2018, the bear market low. On this monthly stochastic RSI, you tell me if you think there's enough momentum here to take us down to $20,000 to $25,000. I do not think so, right? I think there's enough momentum here, however, to take us up to $80,000, maybe even $100,000, or maybe even at a push $165,000, right? And we can compound this data even more, right? The monthly chart's very, very bullish. There's no kind of way of articulating it any other way. It's definitely not bearish outlook here on this monthly chart. Okay, and I know people might say, well, what about those EMAs and those averages? Well, they're just averages, and they are lagging indicators. They aren't helping you forecast anything. They're just telling you how people are likely to react when a price hits that particular average. To me, it means very little, in the same way that trend lines mean very little. But essentially, what we have got is price momentum and wave counts, and basically the wave counts, guys, are just mapping out people's psychology, or the psychology behind people reacting to price movements, right? They're not patterns in the data in the way that we articulate cup and handles or head and shoulders, things like that. What we're really looking at here is people's behavior and how we are mapping that into the charts, okay? Now, we can compound all of this data, right? We know that there's a correction coming. By the time we get down to $34,000, we're going to be so oversold on this monthly, it's oversold on the weekly, oversold on the daily, oversold on the 8-hour, the 4-hour, the 1-hour. They're all going to be in alignment that we need to move up. And it's going to be a significant one, in my opinion. Now, we can compound this, as I said, with more data, some Glassnode. I talk about this every single day in our Discord server. What are we looking at here? Well, we're looking at 3 million Bitcoin leaving the exchanges this year. Take all the inflows, take all the outflows. The net difference is exchanges have lost 3 million BTC. Okay, that's not $3 million. That's not $3 billion. That is 3 million Bitcoins. Okay, they've gone from the exchanges, and this is the kind of adoption that you only tend to see before a big surge upwards. Take yesterday as an example. We saw 93,000 BTC leave the exchanges, but where's it going? Well, it's going somewhere that's pretty obvious, and if you know where to look, and that is to the whales, right? Whales are accumulating. They're telling you that we're going down to $20,000 to $25,000. They might have their paying their friends to tell them to do things on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. Essentially, let me refresh this. Let me see if I can get this chart to load up. It's not going to load for me now, is it? But basically, the number of wallets with over 1,000 BTC in them has increased. It has been increasing since February, and it's been increasing at quite a rapid rate. This is telling us that it is the institutions and the whales that are accumulating Bitcoin at the same time that they're telling you that it's going down to these bear market lows. Here we go. There you go. Right. So what we're looking at here is the number of wallets with over 1,000 BTC. Okay. And it's been increasing since February, as you can see, right? And this is the kind of stuff that doesn't happen all too often, but you got to do what the whales do and do not pay attention to what they say. As we say, right? Do as they do, not as they say, because essentially, you know, they're telling you one thing whilst doing another, and you know, I'm going to be doing what they're doing because, well, they're in the position that they are for a reason. So, you know, I'm not looking at all of this data. I'm seeing 3 million Bitcoin leave the exchanges. I'm seeing whales accumulating Bitcoin, and yet we're seeing the price go down. You've got to ask yourself why. Okay, who's selling the Bitcoin? Who's providing the liquidity at those particular points? Why is the price going there, and why are the whales accumulating, right? Let's not just pay attention to certain influencers saying you're going down to 20k, we're going down to 10k, whatever crazy number that they're coming up with these days, when the data is actually suggesting otherwise, right? We see this on time and time again. Lots of different people will be talking about lots of different kind of protocols, lots of different kind of projects, and the data suggests different things than what these influencers might be suggesting to you. So research is absolutely vital. It's absolutely critical. If you like Glassnode data, we drop this down in our Discord server every single day. So check it out, guys. You're not going to be disappointed by what you find down there, because essentially data is going to be power here. You're going to be able to understand what is likely to happen before it happens, rather than relying on nonsense like golden crosses, death crosses, EMAs, trend lines, nonsense like that, and slogans, and all that kind of rubbish. We want to be mapping what people are doing. We want to know the psychology behind what makes people buy and what makes people sell, and we want to make sure that we are on the right side of all of that. Okay, and so far so good. We've got a pretty good track record at making sure that we're on the right side of things. And March 2020 was a fantastic time. Okay, what do we see? We saw the dollar index move rapidly, and we saw the entire crypto market crash in March 2020, right? And a lot of people were selling. So much fear in the space. What will we do? And we'll buy in that fear. There's a few opportunities like this that come around. And I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot offer you financial advice. But when I take a look at all of this data, I have a look at what the whales are doing. I have a look at how bad the exchanges are with their balance sheets for Bitcoin at multi-year lows. Right, what are we looking at here? We're looking at a shortage of supply that is going to be met with demand in the future, and demand that is going to absolutely skyrocket the price of BTC. As we know, market cap has no bearing on price discovery. The kind of notion of just last sold price multiplied by circulating supply is pitiful. It doesn't really make too much difference to anything. It's just a kind of I guess it's like time, humans' concept of time, trying to kind of construct something to make it meaningful when they make a really piss poor job of it. Essentially, what we've actually got going on are two very vital things, and people tend to overlook this, but basically supply and demand are king, and supply and demand control your price, okay? Surplus of supply and little demand, the price will fall. FOMO coming in, so demand going high, and an decrease in supply, basically shortage of supply, increase in demand, price goes up. Those are the two metrics that you want to look at. What are we looking at right now? We're looking at the shrinkage of supply before the demand kicks in. When demand kicks in, 100k Bitcoin, I think, is very, very probable. Obviously, that it is ranging up there, 80 to 108, maybe even a little bit more, but that is the range that we are looking at here for BTC. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. There's lots of kind of things to think about, lots of things for you guys to research. I cannot stress that enough. Really pay attention to what people are telling you across the space, myself included. Scrutinize me, research me, and Chris as well. Essentially, we're here to try to communicate what data we see and what we think is likely to go on or going to happen based on this data. Are others doing the same? That's for you guys to decide. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you'll be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.